There's more bikes than there are people in North America, and there's many more being built and shipped in every year. So it makes sense that everybody should have a bike, and everybody should have a bike that works. The Bike Dump is Winnipeg's original community bike shop. It started out just with a whole bunch of friends, had piles of bikes in their backyard, basement, garage, whatever, that they'd salvaged from various places and wanted to get them out in the hands of people. Over your years living in Winnipeg, there's constantly bikes abandoned in back lanes, in dumpsters, at the landfill. So these friends that had these bikes piled up on their property decided they were going to rent a space and combine all their separate reserves of tools in order to start the Bike Dump. They flung open their doors, people would come. The idea that there's just common tools for the community to use, and hopefully the people that are coming in the door are learning those skills and passing them on as well.
There's so many bikes and so much stuff to work with. I mean, there's a wealth of stuff out there to make use of, all these discarded bikes, right? So for people who like, taking stuff apart and putting stuff together, then this is a big playpen.
On a typical night of the Bike Dump, during open hours, we fling open the gates to a lineup of 15 to 20 to 30 people, which can be somewhat intimidating sometimes. That's a system just to keep the number of people in the shop a little more sane.
So someone arrives at the Bike Dump, we ask their name, the problem they have with their bike, and we'll ask them if they've been here before. If it's a build, we'll put them last on the list. If it's a fix, we'll get them in right away because fixes are faster than builds. Build is sometimes a whole night affair or multi-nights. We fix them up with a volunteer, whoever's willing to do whatever. If someone's comfortable with brakes and that person has a brake problem, we'll set them up together.
It just kind of takes off from there, and usually some people bring snacks and there's music playing, and it's always really nice. I'm really laid back. It's kind of like hanging out, but you're getting a lot of stuff done.
It's like a cool club where if you're a volunteer, you can come hang out whenever you want. You're not, necessarily obliged to be working the entire time you're here. You can sit around in the courtyard and watch the birds go by and watch the sun go down. It's a clubhouse mentality, and there's definitely perks to volunteering. And plus, you can, you hang around long enough and you can build yourself a pretty sweet bike. So the Bike Dump is coming up on 7 years old now. We run on an all donation basis. There aren't any fees. We want bike repair knowledge and skills and tools to be accessible to everybody, and all our parts and bikes come out of the landfill and through donations. We want to have just people out there with our bikes underneath their butts and working properly.
The fact that, we don't really get any major funding, like it's all through donations, and we can put so much out, to me it's just this fantastic cycle that's going through the community of like people putting their donations of bikes and money into this and time into this place, and being able to take all that and then put it back out there by people through the service we can offer. This awesome self-sustaining unit in my mind.
The Bike Dump operates non-hierarchically, which means we don't have a leader, a manager, a boss. There's no such thing here. We're run by a volunteer collective, and any volunteer who wants to be a part of that collective is welcome to. We operate via loose consensus, so not an extremely formal procedure by any means, but we try and make sure that everybody who wants to be a part of making the decisions can, and that their voice is heard.
It's so nice just to come somewhere and be like, oh wow, you guys aren't trying to make a buck off this. You're just really trying to help people get on their bicycle. It's just really about helping people out first.
The Bike Dump does draw from a whole bunch of really different demographics for our volunteers, for our membership. There's the older guys who tinker in their garage and want to tinker on a larger scale with more bikes and more tools and people around. There's a lot of younger sort of 20-somethings, because people come from all walks of life and all parts of the city and all sorts of backgrounds in order to volunteer here.
people who have started here and they didn't know anything about bikes, and it's just a very friendly place, you know, because there is always something kind of happening. Some people just like to come for meeting new people and stuff, I think, maybe. And have learned how to work on bikes along the way. It's great for developing relationships.
I think I joined at a really great time because there's lots of women that were volunteering here that I was totally impressed by, that I was I want to be like them, you know?
When I first walked in, I knew I had a friend here waiting for me and that it was a workshop, so I felt like it was a pretty safe space at that moment. But, you know, there's a lot of dudes. I could easily have seen myself being a little bit anxious in the space, intimidated. Often when I see a group of men using tools, I'm thinking, oh, okay, they know what they're doing, I'll back off. But that's not what the space is.
Really quickly, people were so good about just you know what, even if you can help someone learn how to change their flat or just come in learning something new, that in itself is that's great, you know what I mean? So they don't expect you to be master repairs people from the very beginning anyways.
Downtown Winnipeg and core area of Winnipeg has many immigrants and refugees who rode bicycles in the country that they lived in prior to Canada, and just see it as a sort of natural progression to ride a bicycle here in Canada too. So it's really good that we're here to serve them, given that they often don't have a whole lot of transportation options if they're on a tight budget.
There's been a lot of immigrants coming in, people whose first language isn't English, and sometimes a language barrier is a problem. I've had a night where there's a translator who came in. You know, if the translator doesn't know how to say cone wrench, that can be a problem.
We try and be in solidarity with people who we work with rather than just be a charity. You don't benefit anyone just by giving them something. I think we have the rep in the neighborhood of being the place where you go to get a free bike. Some people will come in the door and they want their free bike. Where's my free bike? I heard you get a free bike here. And obviously that can by the time you hear that the 100th time, it can be pretty frustrating. Charities will sort of breed dependence and entitlement, and whereas we're trying to be in solidarity with people and teach them something so that they can be self-sufficient.
People put this time, they get emotionally almost connected to their bikes, which I think is fantastic when you see this kind of bonding that someone has, and it kind of gets us away from that disposable culture of things when it comes to our bicycles, because you can get a bike at Canadian Tire for really cheap and things are going to break on it, but you can get an old solid good frame here from 20 years old and you can constantly just repair and upgrade and change out parts, and people can be wow, I can have this bike for a really long time, and yeah, it becomes their personal bike, and I really like that.
The crappy ones nobody bothers to repair, because you take them to a shop and they'll tell you it'll cost more to repair it than to buy a new bike, because it will at shop rates and new parts and stuff. Here you can come and fix it with somebody's help and maybe learn a little bit about getting it fixed. Ideally, hopefully, what people will take away from here is how to fix a flat. And it's a very common thing.
I think what we do here at the Bike Dump is really empowering for our shop patrons. Putting a wrench in their hand and showing them that this thing behind me isn't such a mystery after all. It's a relatively simple machine and anybody can fix it.
2 weeks ago, I helped a man fix his daughter's bike. The daughter was too young to even hold a tool. So he fixed his daughter's bike, and his friend was there. I bumped into the friend later. I was at the bank and I saw him and I recognized him. We started talking and we went for a coffee, and he moved here from Taiwan, and before that from Africa, and he doesn't know anybody here. He doesn't have any friends, just this one person he came to the dump with. It's a different life than mine, and that's always interesting to hear about other people's hardships and other people's victories in life that aren't anything I have experienced or maybe even thought of.
I just remember this woman came in and she had a bunch of kids, and it was ladies' night, and she had an older son, and she was just expecting her son to come in and do the bike, and she was just gonna sit with her kids. Kind of explained, well, tonight's ladies' night, and we can work on your bike together. And at first she was like, this is impossible. You know, this is not going to work. And then before I knew it, like she was just like cranking away on this bike, and she was having a fun time. She was getting her like little daughters involved, and it always made me seem like she had been the one to step back when it comes to more mechanical things, maybe let the men in the family take over for it. But for once, she was like, I'm going to do this. It makes it so worth coming here. So worth coming here.
I've become a better teacher since starting at the bike dump. And patience, I've become a lot more patient with people. You know, you have to really work on your patience and realize that this person has a different learning style, and you can't just get angry at the kid for being who he is.
Really being able to start with someone who's like, you know, bare foundation in terms of mechanic skills, and being able to slowly work with them. We want to instruct people while they're holding the tools and stuff. And I had to resist like crazy not just to go and grab a wrench, even though I could do it in like 2 seconds. It might take them longer, but I'm just like, hey, can't grab that wrench. I've had that feeling done to me like in different situations out here. And it just feels like, as soon as that, just even that small gesture, it's like saying, oh, you can't do this, you know, and that can really throw someone totally off and be very like, oh, I don't want to try this out anymore. It's too intimidating.
I think a lot of folks that ride bikes, they just ride them to get to work in the morning, not because they don't have any other choice, because cars are expensive, insurance is expensive, gas is bloody expensive. So they don't do it because it's cool and because it's hip.
I mean, sometimes people just want to bike right now so they can get to work tomorrow. But biking is in fashion now, cycling is in fashion. So not everyone is in it for politics, but I feel that is there.
Educating cyclists, educating drivers, and trying to broker a mutual understanding that like we're both going to be on the road, we're both going to get to where we're going. Hopefully we don't have to get angry at each other about getting in each other's way and slowing each other down, because you know, just relax when you're out there. Take it easy. Let's not kill each other, and let's not get ourselves killed by doing something stupid on a bike or doing something stupid with our vehicle.
Yeah, I'm organized chaos, the same way the bike dump. I don't know, I know a little bit about everything.
The nicest part is just meeting new people, like people that normally I wouldn't get to hang out with, and people you wouldn't think you'd have a lot in common with, and it's amazing. Like this place really attracts a lot of different backgrounds and people, and I love that about this place, you know? So it's been fantastic for that reason.
It's a little bit of magic. I don't know. I don't know how the bike dump really manages to not implode sometimes.
I don't know, let's call it anarchy or something. It doesn't.
Anarchy makes the bike dump work.
Yes.
There's a lot of strong personalities coming in the door, a lot of colorful characters who volunteer here. It's a really positive environment. Everybody's, for the most part, having a good time. We don't have a boss breathing down our neck to get it done. Everybody's here out of their own volition, and I think really enjoys what they're doing. So we just work through it, and people coming in the door to get their bikes on the road again are pretty darn happy when they leave, and the people that are volunteering here are doing it because they love it. So that's, you know, a recipe for success, regardless of what sort of weirdos we have volunteering here and what sort of weirdos we have coming in the door.
It's just really about getting people on their bike, getting people back on track, and teaching people how to work on their bike. And I think in that sense it gives a lot of pride with people on their bicycle too, because once they put that effort into it, they want to make sure they care for their bike and take care of their bike.
I think it's probably like the social aspect of volunteering is always a draw. You know, you get to meet more people. That was one of the draws for me. Who doesn't want to have more friends and to meet new people and to feel like they're part of something?
That's one of the most gratifying things for me as a volunteer, is seeing that smiling face walk out the door with their ride under their butt and pedaling it away into the sunset. It's all quite romantic.
It's just this thing that runs through my life is bikes.